Hi, and welcome to the WOOLapyk Podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, and it has been a while since I did one of these, so I feel a little rusty. Welcome, my name is Ida, and I am recording here from our little apartment in Roskilde, Denmark, and we are in a lockdown because of Corona, the virus, which I'm sure all of you have heard about and are affected by in some way or another. So we are all here at home. My boyfriend, actually he's my husband now, my husband and our daughter, and my husband's daughter, she just came in the door, 10 minutes ago. She's been with her mom for the last 4 days, and she's going to be with us for 10 days now. So Esther, our daughter, my daughter, and also my husband's other daughter, is very excited that her big sister is here, and they are playing right now. So you may hear some noise from them playing. I have a ton of things that I would like to talk about. I think for this episode I'm just going to be talking about knitting, but I have a lot of, I guess you could call live update regarding, we got married, which I mean, there's not really much else to say about that. We got married last month, and I have something I want to talk about in regards to the shop. So I dye and sell hand-dyed yarn, and there's going to be some changes there, which basically is just that I'm not really going to produce a whole lot of yarn anymore, but I'm going to get more into that in another episode, like I said. And then a couple of weeks ago I had which is, I guess this is a more personal thing, I had a missed abortion, which basically means that you are pregnant, or your body, you are pregnant, I guess, but the baby is dead in the uterus, so there's no heartbeat. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about it, because I feel like it's something that happens so often, but not a lot of people talk about it. And I think I'm in a position where I'm obviously, I've been affected by it, but I also feel like I feel fine talking about it. So I wanted to talk about that too, and again in another episode. So yes, just a deep breath. I have some knitting that I would like to share with you guys. And another thing, I also wanted to talk about the podcast, and I think I may do that at the end, just a little bit about how I want to move forward with the podcast, because if you've been watching for a while, you know that I haven't really done a whole lot of podcasting, and there's different reasons for that, but I want to get into that probably at the end of this episode. So just gonna get some tea. Okay, first thing is this guy, which is Tjugga, and he is a little bear that I made. Well, he's quite big actually. I thought he would be smaller, but he's made up without any sort of pattern or anything. And I made him or her, I actually don't know if it's a boy or girl. So I made the bear because every night for the last probably half year, we've listened to a children's meditation when we've put our daughter to bed. And it's called Tjugga, and it's just a very nice, relaxing meditation for kids. And our daughter has always been, well, not always, but I think some people would probably classify her as a not good sleeper, but she's had a hard time calming down at night and generally just sleeping. So this has been just a nice little routine to listen to Tjugga while she's been falling asleep. And so I wanted to make her own Tjugga that she could just sleep with at night. And I just basically, I wish I bought the book here, because there are books too. anyway, so I used the pictures from the book that we have to try to make her own Tjugga. And I don't know how well, it's not an exact copy from the book. The bear has some very characteristic cheeks, so pink round cheeks. So I think that definitely helps giving the impression that this is a Tjugga bear. Like I said, I just made this up. I started with the body and then kind of just went from there. I had to redo the head many times, and I think I probably should have remade it again because it's quite small, but I don't know, it's kind of cute anyway, and she likes it. So the yarn is, I think it's called Rico Light, and I dyed it. I over dyed it because it was like a light brown, to get this more chocolate brown color. And yeah, and I just embroidered the nose and the mouth and the eyes, and there is stuffing. Oh, the stuffing is some organic wool that I had. Yeah, so this is my Tjugga bear for Esther, and I'm just really happy I made it for her. Especially now, we took her pacifiers away 2 days ago, so it's nice that she has something else to cuddle with these days when she's going to sleep. Yeah. Another thing that I've finished is these. Oh, well, actually, well, there's a little piece of thread here, which I did weave in the ends. I just think I forgot to cut it off. But this is a pattern from Knit by Trine P. It is from this book right here, Lille Du. And these are called the Spire pants. I think it's just called Spire. And I think this is the smallest size, which is a 0 to 3 months. I just added some length to the leg and also to the ribbing, so you know, it's gonna last for longer. I also didn't really do the pattern that she that's in the original version, which, let me show you, is here. I guess you can see here. Can you see? Yeah. So there are more bubbles and it's longer. And it also has these I-cord suspender things. But I just thought that since this is the smallest size, I didn't really want the baby to have this big bow on the back, because generally they lay on the back. And they are also not really moving, so I wasn't really worried that these pants would fall down or anything. I'm pretty sure they'll be, you know, sticking to, or they'll stay put. So I just omitted those. And so, but they're still, the body's still quite long, as you can see, so it will basically hit under the underarms and keep the like core nice and warm. And yeah, so I knit these for the baby that I was expecting, so but am not anymore. So these will be for the baby that we will hopefully get at a later point. I was actually, I think I was here at this point when we found out that, you know, there was no heartbeat or anything in there, and so I knitted the rest. Ja. Jeg laver en podcast. A little bit of it.
Da jeg var hjemme hos farmor i mandags, bagte vi
Okay. So that was the whole family coming into the bedroom. We are in the bedroom, by the way. So anyway, I was saying, I had knit to this part, so I'm basically just knitting the ribbing and the little bubbles. When we found out that there was no heartbeat, and I just decided to actually finish. I finished this as I was at the hospital getting the is it called surgical abortion maybe in English? I think it is. So as I was, they didn't want to let me leave until a couple of hours after the surgery. So I was just laying in bed and I was knitting this, thinking that these would be for another, or for the baby that we will hopefully get at some point. So I have these finished, and I think they are, I have all the labels, which I'm really proud of because I never have the labels, but I've saved them this time. So this is just a drops cotton merino, which I've had in my stash for ages, and I used nearly 2 balls on these. So is it like 52% wool, 48% cotton yarn. And I also, let me just show this because I just saw. So for the Tjugga bear, this one, this is the yarn that I used. Is it fashion light luxury, 74% alpaca, 22% wool, and 4% nylon, and it's by Rico Design. And yes, so another thing that I knit also for the baby, which again is gonna be for another baby, is these very, very cute Willums selebukser, Willums pants, I don't know, it's from Petiteknit. And I just think that the pairing of this yarn and the pattern is just perfect for a newborn baby sized knit. I think these are just amazing. I love the yarn. The yarn is something that my sister brought home for me. It's she bought it when she was in Peru some years ago, and it's a 100% baby alpaca, and I just really like how it looks in this pattern. I just feel like it's just, I don't know, I just really love it, like the shape of it and like the fuzz. It's super, very, very soft and cute. And I love the little buttons and the color of the yarn. So, let's see. I'm trying to, I have like the reason I'm doing this is because I have a little mirror behind my phone. So I'm trying to see what you can see. And there we go. Let me just move back a little bit and you can probably see better. Here you go. Can you see? Yeah. So, and I knit the ribbing longer again because I wanted the baby to wear it for more than just a couple of weeks. So yeah, I can't wait to have a baby to put in this. I think it's just gonna be, well, I don't know. This time it was supposed to be a September baby, and I thought this is gonna be perfect. All the like woolen stuff for winter and the small sizes. So, and I obviously don't know what at what time we will get a baby this time. So, you know, if it's in the middle of the summer, I guess this isn't really, I don't know if it will get anywhere, but we don't know. So Willums pants by Petiteknit, and then I have, I just quickly grabbed everything that I had laying around and threw it in here. So I don't have any show notes, which I never do. So, but here we go. Another baby knit that is not, or that isn't for the baby. Well, this is for my little nephew who was born a couple of weeks ago. This is just a little pair of mittens. We were supposed to see him this weekend, but because of the virus going on, we didn't go. So I hope, I don't know, like, we don't know how long this lockdown is gonna be for. So he may not need these mittens once we see them, because it will be too warm to wear. But they're just super cute. I love the detail with the snaps here. So you can, the thing is, in Denmark, babies sleep outside in the pram when they do, like when they nap, they generally will sleep outside. And so you can, you know, they have like a warm suit on, and then you can put these gloves on the baby, and you can snap. Okay, there we go. You can snap these onto, well, I guess onto the hem of the that little suit, and they will stay on and not, you know, fall off. So I just thought it was a really cute, the cute pattern, and just a quick project that I could make for him. I actually didn't plan to knit anything for him, but then I just saw this pattern and I thought, okay, I need to knit those for him. And this is I think this is again a Drops alpaca, very, very old yarn that I've had for ages. Drops 100% alpaca yarn. And the cuff is just knit with one strand of yarn, and then I knit the body of the glove with 2 strands knit together. So it's a little denser and more thick and warm. And the pattern is from this book, which I really like. It's a Norwegian designer, and I don't even know what they're called. I don't know. Anyway, I can't remember what they're called, but it's from this book, Tjugga Boomstrik. And what I really like, it has some really nice patterns in here, but they are from premature to, I can't remember, 2 or 3 years old. But I had planned to knit, basically knit a, look at these, aren't they cute? Anyway, basically knit a premature size and then a newborn size of like these pants, and then a hat. Not this hat, but another hat. Because Esther, my daughter, was born early or premature, and we didn't have any clothes that fit her. And the reason she was born premature wasn't really anything to do with my pregnancy. It had something to do with the pregnancy, but it wasn't me or my body, and it wasn't really her either. It was the placenta who was laying too low, and it caused some bleeding. So it may happen again, but I mean, the chances are, I think, 2%. So it probably wouldn't happen again, but I just, as I was pregnant, I was thinking, like, I want to have that. So if it happens, I just know that I have something to put the baby in that he or she can wear. And then I thought, if I don't give birth prematurely, then at least I could give it to Esther for her doll, and then she would have something that was the same as her little brother and sister wore. And so I think she would find that fun too, that her baby could wear the same as the real baby. So yeah, I'm planning to knit more from this book. Yeah, and then I have a finished object for me, which is, I don't know if you can see, I wore this at my wedding without the buttons, and I'm gonna take the buttons out because they are just too big. It reminds me of a clown costume, which can be cool, but I don't think I'm cool enough to, I don't know, to work it. So these buttons are like velvet buttons, and I think if they were just a little bit smaller, they would be perfect, but they're too big. And so I wore this without buttons as I got married. So at that point it was just a white cardigan. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to find something else out with, like, find some other buttons. I really don't like adding buttons to my knitwear. I think it's just so boring. So yeah, it's been like this for a couple of weeks and without anything happening to it. And I also don't really have any buttons that I want to add, so I don't know. But this is the balloon cardigan by Petiteknit, and yeah, it's a nice cardigan. The sleeves are huge. Like, they're just, look how big they are. They took what felt like forever. I was knitting the body and I was like, oh my goodness, this is taking me no time. I'm suddenly a fast knitter. And then I reached the sleeves and I was like, okay, this is just taking forever. So, but it has a nice, it's just a very simple, you know, as you can see, stockinette stitch cardigan that can go with anything, which is what I wanted in my wardrobe. I knit this with a 80% superwash merino and 20% natural bamboo yarn that I have in the shop. Well, I don't have it in the shop, I just have it for the shop, but I haven't really added it to the shop because, yeah, I will talk about the shop things later on. And then a white silk merino, this is the one, or like a cream colored silk merino. And again, I don't really feel like you can see it, probably. Can you see it here? There you go. So, I like the detail with the like big sleeves, and then it has this narrow cuff, which is quite pretty when you wear it. And then I get silk mohair everywhere. What else? Yeah, I have been knitting on some mittens for me. And this is from a Norwegian selbu mitten book. But I ended out, I'm not gonna finish these because they're just a tiny bit too small for me. I mean, I can put them on my hand, I like them to have a little bit of room, and they're just very tight on me, which I don't really find comfortable. So, going to frog these, and I have already started on another pair, which I will show you in just a minute. But the yarn here is from Bouche. It's a French name, and I've never had French in school, so I'm just doing my best here, but see, the name is up here. And this is, so I had the dark blue, it's called dark blue black, the blue, and then just, I don't know what this is called, but this is like a natural white with a sort of a creamy white color. So these are gonna be frogs, and I have no clue what I'm gonna use the yarn for, but I only have those two skeins, so it can't be too big of a thing. Just showing you everything now, so I know some of it is a little fast, but I can see that I'm almost at half an hour, and well, not quite, but I just want to get through this fairly quickly, also for myself, so I don't have to use a ton of time editing. Yeah, so instead of those selbu mittens, I am knitting another pair, and I have actually finished one of them, and I have no clue where it is. I know it's somewhere in the house. I think Esther may have, I don't know. She sometimes likes taking our things and hiding them, or just laying them at random places around the house, and I think she may have, I don't know. It may be somewhere in her in her position that I'm not aware of. I hope so. So I can't even show you that one, but this is the second one, and the pattern is called Speedy selbu mittens by skeindeer, and it's an Aran weight yarn that you use for this pattern, so it's quite quick. And I am using WOOLapyk in, here it is. Let me show you this one. So this is like a clear blue and then a white color. And they're just, compared to the other mitten that I was knitting, these just take absolutely no time. I mean, this is the size needle that you use. I think it's the size, is it 6mm and US 10, something like that. And this one is just a smaller one, but I'm knitting these in the magic loop, so I'm only using this one for doing the knitting part, basically. Okay, moving on to this tube, which is just something that I'm gonna knit that I'm knitting for a friend, and I'm actually just using the Dugpandebånd by Knit by Trine P, which I have showed you here, or maybe I haven't, I can't remember, but it's just a very simple headband. See, you're supposed to do this in the front, and on the original pattern there are some texture here. I just didn't want to do that. I just wanted it to be completely plain. It's a little short, so I'm planning on really blocking this quite a lot so it can fit an adult. I just ran out of yarn and I don't want to buy any new yarn, because the whole idea was to use up my stash and all those scrap yarns that we all have laying around. So let me see. I used this yarn, which is my own hand-dyed yarn. This is a BFL Matching blend, and then I had a scrap of Især silk mohair, which I ran out of. So see here, it's I love this yarn so much. It's just rustic but soft and warm and just very lovely to knit with. So I have 3 more projects and then we are done. It's raining now and it's very dark outside, so yeah, the light is not the best, but this is the best I can do. So I knit these leg warmers for Esther. They are knit out of a Hedgehog Fiber, very chunky yarn, as you can see. I actually bought this thinking that I would knit the Lara mittens by Shinysuperhero. But they are just, I mean, I think though the mittens are knit with an Aran weight yarn. So this was just way too like thick. I don't even know, but you can probably see, look how big the stitches are. It's just a very, very chunky yarn. So I ended up just knitting a pair of leg warmers for Esther because she basically hates getting clothes on. But she doesn't like getting like snowsuits on or, you know, an extra pair of warm pants when we go out. And so sometimes she'll be fine with just, you know, getting these on. When I get these on her, I'm like, okay, she's at least has some extra warmth on her legs. So, and sometimes I will use them as well if I'm walking around, just as wrist warmers. And then I have, wrong project bag. Here we go. I am knitting a sweater for Jakob. I gave him a sweater for Christmas, And this is it. We are getting a visitor. Okay, so we had a couple of visitors, but are back on track. So I am knitting Jakob a sweater because I gave him one for Christmas, like a gift card for a sweater. And this is the Hanstholm sweater by Petiteknit. And have any of you knit this sweater? Because I just don't. Yeah, the rate at which the increases are placed doesn't work for his body. It just doesn't look right on him. So I haven't knit on this for a month or so now because I don't really know what to do. I'm thinking maybe I will continue knitting until I'm done with all of the raglan increases, but I just feel like I don't know if it's worth it, because as it looks now, it just doesn't look right on him. And I think I'm just a couple of increases away from being done with that. So it's not like, you know, I can continue knitting and then it may be all right. I don't think it is. I just don't know, because I feel like Petiteknit usually has really great like fitting of her patterns. I just don't. This one just doesn't look right on him. So yeah, I don't know what to do. Because it's such a big sweater, I just don't want to continue knitting on it and then it just not being right, looking right on him. And I think the whole reason that I want to knit him a sweater is because he is very tall, and he does have quite wide shoulders, but he has sort of a slim body and like just long arms, long upper body. So generally a lot of his, like if you buy store-made clothes, they're just too short on the arms and on the body. So I thought he's just the perfect candidate to knit for, so I could, you know, make the length right for him. I just don't know what it is with this pattern. It doesn't look good on him. So at the moment I'm thinking about, I don't know, I think I want to just block it a little bit, put it in water and block it and try it on him again. And if it doesn't look right, I'm gonna rip the whole thing out, and then I think I'm gonna knit the Erik sweater by Filcolana, which is a free pattern. And it has these, it's not a raglan, it's not top down, but it has this, I think it's called saddle shoulder thing, where you sort of, I've never done it before, but it looks really nice. And I think I want to knit him that one instead. I think that gauge for the Erik sweater is 20 stitches, and I think this is 21 or 22, so it could work if I went up a needle size. Yeah, so I'm a little bummed about that, because it did take me a while to knit this. I know it looks like just a little blob, but it's on a short circle needle. It is quite big when you open it up. And the yarn that I'm using is, well, it's Abba from Brooklyn Tweed, which is just lovely to work with. I don't have a tag here, but I'll bring that next time. So yeah, that was Jakob's sweater. And then last bit, I am doing a test knit, which I generally never do because I am afraid that I won't be able to meet the deadline. But this is a crop summer tee, quite short in the body and with short sleeves. So I think this is something that I can do. I have until the end of April to finish it. And this is as far as I've gotten. So it has a folded hem. The pattern is by Lærke from FiberTales. And as you can see, it has this folded hem. And then it's just quite simple but lovely with a fake button placket, and it has quite a nice, I really like the neck. It has just a really nice rounded shape, and short sleeves. And I'm knitting this with, again, my own hand-dyed yarn. This is the merino bamboo base in a pink with a little bit of a peach undertone. And it's here in the skein, I don't know if you can see. And there are just slight speckles of, I guess, like peachy red color. So I don't know, I'm a little excited to see how much I can get out of one skein of this. Like, imagine if I can get a whole top, that would be awesome, but I'm knitting a size medium, so I don't know. And I think I may add just a centimeter more in the length, so we'll see. And that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have been watching for a long time, thank you so much for continue watching. And I know that when you are following podcasters that are quite irregular at podcasting or like doing podcasts, it sometimes can be, at least that's how I feel, you just sort of have to get into the rhythm again when you watch them. I don't know if I make any sense, but that's sort of how I feel. Whereas if they are more regular, for me it's more sort of feels more natural, I guess, to continue watching them. So thank you for that. And also, if you're new, thank you for watching. Quickly about what I'm thinking for podcasting in the future. I am thinking about doing a couple of podcasts in Danish. So doing both English and Danish podcasts, not of the same projects. That would be, for me, very boring. I know some people are doing it like in their native language and then in English. And I think that's amazing that they can do that. I don't want to do that. But I'm thinking about doing a little bit of a switching between the two. And yeah, just because I have been quite uninspired to podcast. I really wanted to do it. I've been wanting to do it for the last couple of weeks, but I really have been thinking very hard about if I wanted to continue at all. I have been removing quite a lot of my podcasts from YouTube. And I just have had this feeling of wanting to be a little more private. I think in some parts of my life. And then again, like, I'm telling you about my missed abortion, so I don't really know. I just... when I started, that's 5 years ago. My first podcast was 5 years ago in May. So that's quite a long time ago. And at that point, there was not a lot of podcasts out there. And it was just very new and exciting. And it felt very special, I think. And the community was different than it is today. Not better or worse, just different, because there was so few of us. And I'm by no means the first one, but I was, back then there wasn't a lot of podcasters. And I think for me, I'm very drawn to, I don't know how to say that. I think we all like being unique or feeling like we are unique people. And I think for me, that was part of it. I like that I was one of the ones that did it, but not everybody did it. And now there are more people doing it, which is totally fine. I'm all for it. I love watching podcasts. So, but it just doesn't feel as special anymore. And it can be because of more people are doing it. It may also just be because I've done it for so long. Yeah, and I think another part is I am not really good at engaging in the comments or generally with other people's podcasts. I very often forget about commenting when I watch a podcast. So I don't really expect people to comment on my podcast, but I also have to admit that it is for me at least, it's something that makes me want to continue doing it. And I don't get a lot of comments on my podcast, which is fine. Like I said, I don't do it myself, but I have been thinking, like, I've just been like thinking about like, why is it that I feel this way? And I think that's also part of it. when you do all these talks and you talk to the camera and there are like 4 people commenting back on it, it's like just not as motivating, I think. So that's also part of it. And I'm not saying, oh, you need to comment on my podcast, otherwise I won't podcast, because I also feel like, you know, maybe it's just not something that you feel like commenting on. Maybe there's nothing that you want to comment on, but you may still like watching the podcast, which is generally how I feel. So I'm not saying it so that you, to make people like, I don't want people to feel like they have to comment, basically. I'm just trying to explain my thoughts on why I may feel, or why I'm not really that into podcasting at the moment, or I haven't been for the last year. Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking maybe I'll try to do a Danish podcast, and then again just do the podcasts when I feel like it, which is basically what I've been doing always, more or less. There has been some times where I've been doing it because of my shop, but generally I don't really use the podcast a whole lot for promoting my shop, and at this point I want to scale back on the shop and not really do it much anymore, so I don't have that aspect as something that I need to do or something that may stress me, because I don't really have yarn to sell, so I don't have to do it because of that. I don't know if I'm making sense. I feel like I'm rambling now, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror behind the camera, and I'm just looking at my sweater, and I don't think I mentioned what I'm wearing. So this is the SSK sweater by Helge Isa that I knit a couple of years ago. And I think I'm just gonna stop talking now, and thank you for watching, and hopefully it's gonna be another podcast soon where I'm talking a little bit more about life and stuff, and then there's probably gonna be a Danish podcast out as well at some point. So I hope you're taking care of yourself and everyone around you, and hoping that this virus is gonna be, I don't know, just taken care of in the best way possible by all of us. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.